Hello friends. So today we are going to discuss about gross national happiness. Okay? So here happiness means there are two types of happiness. So material happiness and non-material happiness. So on the basis of the material happiness, so what are they? So the better level of income. So whenever a person is getting income, so that is the material happiness because he is seeing money. So by the using of the money he can get the happiness. Okay? And a proper level of nutrition, so on the basis of the nutrition also a person is feeling something, it is to be happiness. Okay, and healthcare facilities and proper level of the literacy and education. Okay, so these comes under the material aspects of the life because we are seeing these materials. Okay, so whenever comes to the non-material, so we cannot see, okay, but we can feel. So those are ethics, religion, spiritualism, cultural values. Okay, so here material happiness means so we can see the type of the happiness. Okay, so mostly developed world has been able to achieve the development, that is happiness. It means the happiness is a material kind of the happiness, so but they are not feeling something, it is to be non-material happiness. Okay, so the first country who came with a good idea, so the country is Bhutan. Okay, so Bhutan is a small Himalayan kingdom. Okay, and it is a non-economic entity. It means on the basis of the economy, so this is not that much of the development is there. Okay, so here they developed a new concept. They developed a new concept of assessing so aspect of the development in the early 1970s. Okay, so during the 1970s only it started to define the development, it started to define the happiness. Okay, so here without rejecting the idea of human development which was propounded by the UNDP, that is Human Development Index. So they are not rejecting the idea of UNDP, but they started to evaluating the development, so on the basis of the material and non-material happiness. Okay, and the Bhutan, so they started to following officially the targets set by the gross national happiness. Okay, so Bhutan has been following this important gross national happiness since 1972. Okay, so it started to define the ideas of development on the basis of the material and non-material aspects during 1970s. Okay, so since 1972, so they started to following the gross national happiness. Okay, so there are some important parameters for calculating the gross national happiness. So first one is a higher real per capita income. Okay, so here per capita income means income per person. Okay, and next good governance, so on the basis of the governance in the country also, so it is calculating good governance. Okay, and environmental protection, so here so at present the environment is disturbing by the industries, etc. Okay, so it means we have the responsibility to protect our environment. So here happiness is also falls under the environmental protection. Okay, so without environment protection we cannot feel such type of the happiness. Okay, so here environmental protection is very important. Next cultural promotion. Okay, so here cultural promotion means that is inculcation of the ethical and spiritual values in the life. Okay, so it means we have to follow the some ethics and spirituality in our life. Okay, so without these ethics and spirituality, so there is no progress in the country. Okay, if there is a progress, maybe the progress may become a curse to the people. Okay, because so we have to follow some important ethical values, we have to follow some moral values in the society, so those can promote the cultural promotion. Okay, so finally I can say the cultural promotion is very important because on the basis of the culture, so we are following so many traditions, we are following some important ethics in the society, so we just have maintained our spirituality and spiritual values in the life. Okay, Okay, so coming to some important features of gross national happiness whenever we compare with the human development index. Okay, so here human development index is also a development method, but so whenever the in during the 1972, so the Bhutan came with a good idea, that is gross national happiness. So the scientists started to compare the gross national happiness with the human development index. Okay, so at the level of per capita income, gross national happiness and human development index are very same. Okay, it means they also take in the per capita income as a parameter, and here also they take in the per capita income as the parameter. Okay, next, human development index is silent on the good governance. So it means it is not a indicator or parameter. Good governance is not a indicator or parameter under the human development index. But whenever comes to the gross national happiness, the take in good governance is one of the important parameter. Okay, so today, so is promoted around the world. Once WB, it means World Bank, came with its report on it in 1995. So the good governance is promoted around the world because good governance is very important. So because the governance is going on, so in any particular country by the political leaders, so maybe the people are suffering with bad governance, so maybe the people are suffering with some non-ethical leaders. So that's why, so good governance is very important parameter under the gross national happiness. So World Bank, so it given one report on the good governance as a parameter under the gross national happiness. So in 1995, so in that time it also enforced and suggested to all the member states. Okay. So how many countries are the member countries? So total 193 countries are the member countries of the United Nations. Okay, so Human Development Index didn't say anything about the protecting environment. Okay, so these are the differences between the parameters of gross national happiness and Human Development Index. Okay, so whenever comes to the Human Development Index, they didn't say anything about the environmental protection. Okay, so because they didn't involve in the deep happiness, so but they are seeing only material kind. But whenever it comes to the gross national happiness, so they are seeing something, it is to be happy for the people. Okay, so that comes from the non-material and material also. Okay, so by the early 1990s, so there was a separate convention on the sustainable development. Okay, so the World Bank and United Nations organization accepted the sustainable development. Okay, so on the point of the sustainable development, there was the environmental protection. Okay, so officially the World Bank and United Nations organization so accepted. So finally, so the basic difference between gross national happiness and human development index is, so the UNDP has need to assimilate some important aspects from the gross national happiness, so that is ethical and spiritual aspects. Okay, so here UNDP's idea of development, so they have to assimilate something, it is to be new in the society, that is ethical and spiritual aspects. Okay, so ethics and spiritual aspects of the life, so these are the rooted in the religious and spiritual text. Okay, so an impartial analysis, so that sufficiently suggests that material achievements are unable to deliver the full happiness. Okay, so there are some ethics, its base ethics is rooted in the religious and the spiritual text, but a new world is guided by its own scientific and secular interpretation of the life. Okay, so here the ethics is rooted in the religious and the spiritual. Whenever we go through the religious purpose, so we'll get the ethics. But so at present, mostly the people on the basis of the secularism, it means a secular interpretation and scientific on the basis of the scientific technology. So but we have to maintain some ethics in our life, so those ethics are rooted in the religious and spiritual text. Okay, so here, so only material aspects cannot give happiness. Okay, we just have some non-material aspects in our life also. So finally they are saying world is suspicious about recognizing the spiritual factor in life. Okay, so there is no spirituality in the human life. So, a recent study by the senior economist from the UNGB, so on the basis of the Bhutanese development experience under the gross national happiness. So, whenever they came with the gross national happiness idea, so there was a senior economist. He started to studying about the happiness in the Bhutan. Okay, so he comes from the UNDP and gross national happiness. Whenever they started to calculating the happiness, so the idea of gross happiness which development must give results. Okay, for example, as per the study 1984 to 98, so the terms of the development in the terms of the life expectancy, so here the life expectancy was increased to 19 years. Okay, and the school enrollment reaching 72%. Okay, and literacy touching to 47.5 percentage, so previous 17%. Okay, so it means there are some important developmental aspects in the Bhutan whenever they started to define the happiness on the basis of the non-material. Okay, but still they are not believing and accepting the wholeheartedly that there exists a non-material part of life, so which needs to be realized to make our development result in happiness. Okay, so here the non-material is very important in the name of the national happiness. So but some components and some countries they are not accepting the non-material happiness in the life. Okay.